Dinos, gone. Algae, still there. Corals. Welcome to my latest video of the Sea Max Nano Peninsula, and it is 2 years old. And what a 2 years it has actually been. Hopefully you can see from the look of the tank, it is on the up, and I did have dinos, as if you've been following this channel you know, I've been really struggling. Made some changes, and that was in the last video. And that dinos I think has actually gone. There's no signs of it, can't see it under the microscope, although you never know because it can come back really, really easily. But what I did have then was replaced by algae. And I've still got different forms of algae, and it's still a pain, but it is probably looking the best this tank has ever done. And if I look at the algae, so it's on the back wall there, you can see that. But what probably isn't coming through is it's quite wispy now. So it's not as green as it was, which is a good thing, because that means it's dying off. And you can see this rock here, just around this area around there, it is wispy, and that rock's probably got more algae on it than any other. Whereas if you can come around here, the back wall, whilst has got algae on it, and you've got a bit of reflection there from the light, it's not as bad as it was. Down here it was wispy, not as bad as it was. I've got a little bit of, you can see there, that's bubble algae on there. So I have got a bubble algae problem, and it seems to be more red than green, which I haven't experienced before. But overall, it's looking much better. There's an emerald crab there, right on cue. Hopefully that will be taking care of the bubble algae, albeit there's probably too much for one crab. So I have been manually removing, but I'll let you know how I do that in a little while. And you can see there, that's a Space Invader chalice, and that is looking absolutely fantastic. That was in a different tank. It's been in there probably for about 2 weeks. So no growth at the moment, still getting used to it, but it's colouring up really, really nicely. And there's no filter on this camera. So that's a reflective of the actual colour of the tank, or the coral, should I say. And there is a rock nem that I've got. So that's looking pretty good as well. So I've got some new additions. So we've covered off the Space Invader chalice there. And then probably I think the first SPS I've put in. So that is a green plating Monty. There are the clowns hogging the limelight, looking pretty good actually. That is from the Red Sea 170 floating aquascape. So I snapped a piece off of that. Well, I say I snapped, I knocked a piece off when I was actually cleaning the glass. And then I think a really understated coral, which is an Alveopora. Now what happens is the Goniopora get all the plaudits because they are beautiful corals and they're really colourful. But the Alveopora, there we go there, polyp extension on that, wow. I think they're understated because, number one, they are really easy to look after. They're not as temperamental, she would say, as Goniopora. They can withstand a bit more swing on parameters. They can withstand maybe not having so much manganese in the tank. And by the way, I'm not dosing anything at the moment in this tank. I'm doing water changes, but I'll come on to maintenance in a moment. And then what I've done, I've moved the gold torch from the sand bed, where that new torch is there, up to there. And it seems to be loving life higher up in the tank. It's only been up there about a week, but actually the polyp extension on that is more than I've had before when it was down near the sand bed. So I think I'm going to be keeping that there. So I'm really pleased with that. And then if I come around here, I've moved a Duncan, which again I think are underrated. Lots of people have them though, but that's probably a better view there. That is out all the time, even as long as there's daylight in this room, that is out. And as I'm quite near the window, as you can see there, it does get a lot of sunlight, and I think that's been part of the problem with this tank. I think it's had too much light. Now I think it's fully adjusted to it. So that is the new additions, other than this here. So this is another torch. It's green with pink polyps. It's only been in the tank 3 days, so it probably hasn't fully coloured up yet. I brought it in from one of the other tanks, and what I'm starting to do now is add in some more corals to this. They're going to be the odd SPS in here, but the majority of it's going to be LPS, probably other than the Zoas, which is the Sunny D, which are looking great. And then the Dago Volcanos, they're looking absolutely stunning. You can see there, the kind of pinky, reddy centre, and then the yellow lashes. The main difference on this tank is the coloration. Now, I've still got some algae on the sand bed. If I go back 3 weeks, that was really, really bad. It was not good at all. But it's a lot better now. One more now. That is a branching Cyphastrius. Now, it's only been in the tank for about 5 days. So it's lost a bit of colour, and of course, under the blue lights, that is looking really rubbish. But it is supposed to be a reddy pink colour. Now, the candy canes were really, really sick. They had loads of bubble algae around them, and you can just see around the edge of the polyps is where you've got die-off. So they're looking a lot better, they're plumping up now, and I thought I'd lose them at some point. But they're actually pretty good. And then the only other issue I've got, I'd say it's an issue, my NEM has decided to park itself halfway up the tank. And it's been there for about a month. I don't plan to move it. As long as it doesn't go into either the Nero over there or the Tunzi pump over there, then we're okay. So it hasn't moved, but you never know. And they've got a bit of algae at the top of the tank there. So it's not algae free. And I don't think I'll ever have an algae free tank, because I actually think algae shows good signs. They're the basic building blocks within the tank. But what I don't want is what I've had before, which is covered in algae. Once I've dealt with the algae a bit more, in as much as it's reduced more along the sand bed, which I think is probably a couple of weeks away from that, and they're going to start adding the sand. And I've said that a number of times in videos before. I've got some live sand in another tank. I'm going to start putting the sand in now, because I don't like the bare bottom here, which is where the flow has been taking it away, and it may still take it away, but there's just a light dusting of sand in there. I want it to really go up to here, which is probably about 1 centimetre or ½ inch, should we say, between that, and that would suit me, because I think it's then got the filtration in there to suck out the nutrients, to keep the bacteria in the tank, and to keep it going. But if I step back there in this tank, I've got to say I'm really, really chuffed with how that's looking. And for me, it's probably the first time I've taken a video and that looks like a proper reef tank with some more colours. And I need to get some more corals in there, especially around this side. It's a bit blankety blank there. If you have a look, there's not a lot going on. I've got another NEM there and just leaving that one there, and it's just doing its thing. You can see the bubbles in it quite actually. Look at those bubble tips, that's actually really nice. As for hosting, the female hosts the NEM now. The male doesn't go anywhere near it, but I never really bought the NEMs in for that to happen. It's just a bonus if it did. So a little bit lower light there, so I need to get some corals that reflect that. I might put another Cyphastrius in there, or put a little bit more rock here, and then that's a bit, as that comes out, it's a bit more rock. I might be able to put a torch. I don't know if the flow's big enough for it, just to build that up. There's a couple of other changes I've made. So I've added some more live rock. So there's 3 pieces of rock rubble you can't really see there, but I've added that, and that's come from AAC. So they keep rock rubble and some live rock in there. This piece here I got from one of my other tanks, and also a fellow reefer, pelagic swimmer who lives local to me. So hi Rob, thanks for giving me a couple of pieces of rock. So what I've done is added some more rock in there with some more bacteria, more biodiversity. And I definitely think starting again in another tank, I would probably do a combination of dead rock, some live rock out of my existing tanks, but also find 2 or 3 other people where, even if it's just rock rubble, or maybe a piece size of maybe a tennis ball that you add, and that's just a smaller tank. It's a bigger tank, get bigger pieces. Because I think if you're adding rock from other people's tanks, as long as you're happy with those tanks, and those tanks have been going for a couple of years, you're going to be adding different bacteria, different biodiversity that your tank hasn't got. You put all that together and I think that's a recipe for success. So I would definitely do that again. The biggest difference to this tank has been the maintenance schedule that I've adopted since I chose to almost ignore the dinos and just get back to the basics. Now in the next video, I'll cover off how I do that. And whilst this tank is not perfect, you've seen the algae and you've seen the bubble algae, it is substantially better than it has been in any previous video. And I think I just have to look at the corals to reflect that. So if you want to see that, maybe like this video, and why not subscribe? So when I do the next update for this and you see what the maintenance is, you won't miss out. But for now, thanks for watching.